Guys, it's really stormy weather. It's been storming the whole night through, and and the wind howling, and we couldn't sleep. So, still raining. Look at that. Look at that. So, what do you do? What do you do, Mike, on a day like that? There's only one thing you can do.
Play Cubert, of course.
There you go. Yeah, we'll,
Man, this thing has so many games. You don't even know what to begin or where to end. So, guys, by now this is just going to be a short, like an additional video, as an add-on to the previous video that we did, where we explained to you, I think in an hour, but we do have the timestamps in the description of that box, so please don't be put off by the length of it. It's an hour because we want to do it step by step, but to make it easy, we have the timestamps of each and every step that we took in that video, so don't be put off by the length, please. So that video, if you've watched that video and you now so far that you have converted your Pac-Man partycade into if you succeeded into adding all those games on it, you find yourself confronted with one little problem. This cabinet has one little issue, which makes it sometimes a little bit unattractive to work on. What I mean by that is sometimes I don't have the right words. I'm sorry about that, guys. What I mean by that is sometimes you just need the reset button. That's one. Two, sometimes you just need to adjust the volume of the games. Those are 2 points. But there's also the problem with the Pandora box, which sits all the way in the back, and that's where the SD card sits with all the games. But sometimes you just want to play with the games that you put on that SD card. Sometimes you want to add to it. Sometimes you want to take some games off it, just to make it for yourself easy to browse through. So, but if it sits all the way in the back, it's gonna be unattractive to keep doing that. So it's gonna be something that becomes like an obsolete thing. So you're gonna end up with just accepting all the games that you have on there. Even if you have games that you never play, you have to browse through them each and every time you start this game. So that's really a very unattractive aspect of this cabinet. So what Mike is trying to do is bring all those functions to the back of this cabinet so that you can have them
Front.
to the front, yeah.
Or at least be accessible.
Exactly. So I'm trying to find a way to put this, but what we mean by that is that, for example, the reset button, maybe I can show you, it's always easier. So take, for example, this reset button, which is here, yes, and this Pandora box normally sits all the way in the back, right there. Which is closed because on top of this goes the back of this cabinet. So there is no way to reach it. So if you need to reset the machine for whatever reason, you'll have to take it off the wall on which you have mounted it, open it up, take this thing out, and the same goes for the volume, but also the same goes for the SD card with all the games, which sits right there. So you need to make them more accessible. You need to have them at the ready whenever, so that you can access them whenever you need and whenever you feel like to. So
what I did is I tried to find documentation of the Pandora box, but there's a lot, and it's confusing. Apparently there are a number of different revisions of the board and a number of different versions, etc., etc., etc. So I just couldn't make head or tails of it. What I've tried yesterday is inserting the SD card into a USB dongle.
Yeah.
And then plug it into one of the USB ports.
So you have removed the SD card from this where it originally should be.
Yeah.
You put it in there, and now you're using these USB ports.
Yeah. So that worked.
Yeah.
Without any issue. So
So now that he...
What I'm going to do now is I bought this card hub, which was very inexpensive. I believe it was €9 or something, which allows for all these different types of cards. And I'm going to plug that into one of the USB ports, put the hub
somewhere here
under the cabinet,
yeah,
to the front, so that is accessible from the front, so that you can insert and remove the SD card.
Yeah, so in
without
that,
having to open up the machine.
so in that way, Mike will actually relocate the SD card all the way from this, and now he relocated to this, but it's still too far in, and now he's gonna eventually relocate it all the way from that to just to the outside because of this thing, using this USB cable to connect it with. So this, so the SD card will go from there all the way in the back to actually being here, whatever he's gonna install this. Very accessible. That's what we're trying to say here, guys. And the same thing, you can do it with the reset button. We're gonna try and do that. And maybe even with the volume button. Bring them all to the front, or not the front of this, but the front of the back.
The outside.
So that you can just do this and reach it.
And for the reset or the settings button, it's not a reset button, it's a settings button.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The
Yeah.
Pandora box.
This one.
If you turn it around here, you can see the little knob, which is just a push switch. Two terminals there. And I took one of the old push buttons and I'm going to solder it up there, make a hole in the machine, insert the button from the bottom, and so you can just click it, and then the settings menu will appear.
And then control it by that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to buy that, because if you watch the video by now, you know that you will end up with your old control panel still with its buttons.
So that's one.
So just take one out. There you have it. Just a little video.
Yeah. And you can also buy a separate one, of course. These buttons are, I think, €5 for 6. So
wow, so that's really not expensive.
no, they're very inexpensive.
All right.
And of course, I have the exact. I'm not quite sure how that's called in English, but this is something to make a hole in wood.
Oh yeah, for that.
Which is the exact diameter of the old thing here.
Oh, that's actually very handy, Mike. A very handy mention.
Yeah.
So it's number 28.
Number 28, I think.
If you happen to have this.
28 millimeters.
Okay. So there it is. So we'll end up the video, not today, but when the whole thing is finished and we know for sure that it works. Otherwise, we're going to put you guys to work maybe for nothing. So we're going to finish the video in a while after we've tried all this and it's all set up.
The SD card mod has succeeded. So that's already already available.
Yeah. So again, guys, this is for the relocation of the SD card.
I just put some Velcro. Not sure if it's
Gonna work?
if it's
Yeah, it
going to
should work.
stick.
So yeah.
I should not have touched it. I should not have touched it. Okay, so like
Maybe if you press it on, it will work.
so. Okay.
See, so this will be your access point of the SD card instead of behind
Closed doors.
closed doors, the closed back. This is it. So now you can just take your SD card at will and do whatever you want, rearrange the games, put games on, put games, take games off, whatever you want. And eventually this will be connected again with the Pandora box that will come to sit there again. So that's one. And now Mike is gonna make a hole. For that control button.
First, I'm going to remove all
out of the way. All right, so the button for the setting is in there. Again, if you use this number that Mike just shared, 28, you should be good. You might need to push it a little bit for it to come through, but
like this.
yeah, this is okay. So now we have two holes, this one and then this one.
So I'm going to pre-tin the cable.
So it's these little cables. So guys, we just tried to connect the substitute button, as I like to call it, via these cables with the setting knob, but it didn't work. We think maybe because we connected them with the wrong dots. So instead of these two lower bigger dots right under the setting button, we're gonna try and connect them with the smaller dots, the upper.
The PCB is masked, so I can't see which traces are connected. So I'm going to.
So now we're gonna try the upper two little dots, connect them with these two and see what happens next. Sometimes it's just try and see. All right, so we managed to finally connect them. They're very small, so you need to do a little bit of pivoting, a little bit.
Yeah.
And now it's gonna go back into its cradle. And connect the whole thing back up, as it were. So what you have now is
Speaker.
the speaker needs to go back in, and the whole thing. If you don't know how to do this, guys, again, just look up the longer video, which will be at the outro of this video. I'm gonna bring them back as a set, so they'll have each other in each other's outro. And again, we use the Velcro to click them on there. It's just easier. So there goes the USB cable. Substitute for the SD card that's on there. So, which means we'll be doing the SD card from there.
Yeah, we just tested that and that works. So
That works, yeah, that works.
Velcro.
And now the setting button connected with this button that Mike did, the substitute button.
Yeah. So one.
All right, let's go test it.
Hey Siri, turn on arcade.
All right, we have a Jetsons family thing going on here. Guys, if you want to do it too, just connect it to your home kit and have it be part of the home network. That way you can have Siri control this for you. So the volume maybe is a little bit too high, so adjust that to your liking too before you close up the whole thing. Okay, so we see games again, so which means that this relocation of the SD card that we did does work. And now Mike is gonna try this. Yeah, and that one works too. Awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. That's great. So we practically never have to take this one off the wall again.
Yeah, one thing left to do, the volume now.
Yeah. Just set the volume to your preference, and then literally you never have to take it off the wall. Guys, it works. Everything works from this SD card. Look, you can see it. There's the SD card right here. It works. That is so awesome. Such a relief. And again, the setting. That one. Love it. Love it. Good job, Mike.
Yeah.
So guys, one thing that you can do already, now that we have relocated the SD card to here and make use of that, is rearrange the games that are on this. What I mean by that is that since we have the vertical version here, and there is of course a hardware way to have to adjust the monitor, you know, to build in the option to go from vertical to horizontal. But that's really a lot of work and it's a lot of fuss. It's doable, but it's a lot of fuss and it's not something that we have to do right now for ourselves. We're enjoying just as much the vertical games. Those are mainly the classic ones. What you find in the horizontal mode are mainly the later ones, you know, the PlayStation, the NES, the Super NES. So it's Mario, Street Fighter and all that, which are cool, and I love them, and I grew also up with those games. But it's just a fuss, and we already have them on the Super Console and other consoles that we have here, right there. So we have that. So that's why we got this, because we wanted to enjoy the old-fashioned games, the classic games, which means that we want to get rid of the horizontal games that are on the SD card, which are about 3,000 games, because that makes only the browsing through the games leave it it's busy on the screen. So what you can do is, if you're not going to change or adapt the screen, just take at least the 3,000 horizontal games off your SD card, and that way you'll have more space to work with, to do, I don't know, maybe other kind of games on there, or maybe kind of rearrange them or something. So that's something you can do if you choose to do so. If you guys find a way that's less fuss, to have the option to go from horizontal to vertical, please don't hesitate to share that with us. We'll be very thankful. For now, thank you so much for watching. We hope you'll benefit from this video one way or another. If you do, please subscribe, share, and comment and all that. And we hope to see you guys in another video.
The whole enchilada.
The whole enchilada. Thank you for watching and have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye from a very raining, gloomy, winterish Amsterdam. Well, not winterish, we are in winter. It's been raining, it's been howling, windy the whole night, storming, so perfect weather to play games and stay in.